Welcome to Study Loop.
For this problem, you are asked to have uh, the user input certain information about an employee and then print out a earning statement for that employee. So in order to have an input, you just use input. So I'm defining each of the things that are being input as a variable, the name, the hours, the hourly pay rate, I've just called rate, the federal tax withholding rate, I've called Fed tax, and the state tax withholding rate, I've called ST tax. And then we need to do a little bit of calculations to find the things that will be printed out in the work statement. So first, the gross wage is going to be the hours times the rate, and I've just used float here to make sure that those are numbers that we're multiplying. The federal percent is the federal tax withholding rate times 100. And again, I've made that a float. Federal withholding will be the gross times the federal tax withholding rate. The state percentage is the state withholding rate times 100. The state withholding is going to be gross times the state tax. And then deduction will be federal withholding plus state withholding. And lastly, the net earnings will be gross minus deduction. So I've started by printing an empty line here just to make it look nice. And then we're just doing a bunch of print statements to write out the actual earning statement. So first, employee name is going to be employee name plus string of the name that was entered before, hours worked. Same for the pay rate. For gross pay, that's why we calculated gross up here, and I've used round to make sure that we only have 2 digits. And then we have deductions, federal withholding, and again, we're inputting the federal percentage rate and rounding the federal withholding again to 2 digits. Same for state withholding and total deduction, and then we'll print out the net pay. So when I run this cell, I have to enter the employee's name. I believe the example used in the book was Smith. Number of hours worked in a week. From what I remember, it was 10. The hourly pay rate, I believe, was $9.75. And the federal tax withholding rate, I believe, was 20%, so 0.20. State tax withholding rate, I believe, was 0.09 or 9%. And now it printed out all of that information. So employee name Smith, hours worked 10, pay rate 975, gross pay 97.50. Deductions, federal withholding of 20% is 19.50. State withholding of 9% is 878. Total deduction is 28.27 and the net pay is 69.22 in this example.